Before I get into this video, I just want to make clear that while this video is mostly speculation, the episode titles are not. This video will contain potential spoilers for the second half of Star vs. the Forces of Evil Season 2. If you don't want to see these spoilers, then please click away from this video. Otherwise, enjoy. Hey everybody, this is Drinker64 and welcome to a video that I've been meaning to make for quite a while now, and as we get closer and closer to February, it kinda gives me even less and less time to make it, so here is the video. Basically, a while ago, a list of episodes for the second half of Star surfaced upon the internet. Now, I originally believed this to be just another leak, but that was until one of the people who actually work on the show came out on Twitter and verified that the specific list in question was actually real. So, we're going to be talking about each episode individually and what it could contain. First things first, the episodes on this list are all going to air in February in the form of a bomb, the way Steven Universe usually goes about airing episodes. Now, I don't think this is such a terrible idea. It does kind of rush through the season, and I'm gonna miss the weekly episodes. But overall, it's not the end of the world. Another thing I'm noticing is that the episodes won't come out as normal in the 22-minute chunks that we get every week, but actually 11-minute segments spread out over the month, again, like Steven Universe. Do you notice a pattern here? So yeah, Star is trying to be a bit like Steven, but it works out for Steven, so I don't see a problem with Star doing the same thing. That's about all I want to say in the way of scheduling for these episodes, so let's just head right into the episodes themselves. So the first episode, airing on the 6th of February, is titled Raid the Cave. Now, considering what happened in the mid-season finale, it's not too much of a stretch to expect to see Star and Marco in this episode attempting to get Glossaric back from Ludo. I don't expect that they'll actually get him back in this episode so quickly, but it's more than likely what this episode will start to entail. The second episode, airing on the Tuesday, will be titled Trick Star. This doesn't look like anything special, but it could possibly involve Star playing some kind of a prank on someone or even some kind of magic trick. Now, the episode airing on the Wednesday, Baby, doesn't seem to really give anything away. If anything, if I had to make a guess anyway, it's possible that Star may have to babysit for some reason, or it could have something to do with Buff Frog and his children. Maybe he has another. My guess is at this point as good as yours. Now, the last episode airing on this week, titled Running with Scissors, feels like it could tie in with the previous episode, Baby. Mostly because running with scissors is something usually you tell your children not to do. So it kind of makes sense to be some kind of continuation from the last episode. Maybe. Another more likely guess is that it has something to do with the dimensional scissors, possibly someone stealing them or just Star running from something. After all, this is my speculation. Most of these predictions will most likely be wrong. Moving on to week 2 of the bomb, and Monday's episode starts us off with Math Magic. Now, whenever I think of math and magic, I tend to think of that math wizard from Gravity Falls, Probabilitor. It's probably not going to have anything to do with that, but Star does have some connections with Gravity Falls, so it doesn't feel like too much of a stretch, to be honest. But I think this episode will probably be set in the school, probably a math class, and something's going on there. This seems more likely than having some massive Gravity Falls crossover with the show. That would be cool, though. On Tuesday, we have the Bounce Lounge, and for those of you who don't remember, the Bounce Lounge is a club which we saw back in Season 1, where Ponyhead took Star and Marco, and where she almost killed Marco on the death spikes below the place. It was actually the first episode to feature Ponyhead, so there is that. It's also situated above death spikes, as I said earlier, so that will probably play into the episode in some way. So yeah, we're going to be heading back there, and I think we'll more than likely see Ponyhead again, so already that's just a plus for me. We're seeing Ponyhead in this half of the season, obviously, so that's great. Heading to Wednesday, we have Crystal Clear, which I really can't tell what this could be about. Maybe Star and Marco learn something and everything becomes more clear, and honestly, that even feels like kind of a stretch. And the final episode for this week is The Hard Way, which definitely sounds like something interesting is going to get done. Maybe Star and Marco have to try and get Glossaric the hard way, or Ludo has to get what he wants the hard way. Either way, I can see this episode being somewhat important. Now, week 3 is going to be big. There's no doubt about that. And the first episode on the Monday is titled Heinous. This is huge. Now, in the first half of the season, we did see Miss Heinous, and it was only one episode, and there really wasn't any kind of a real conclusion. This episode is going to be big, as I've said earlier. It's probably going to come down to Miss Heinous and Marco actually having some kind of meeting or confrontation, since she hates Marco and she doesn't seem to care about Star in any way. It's all about Princess Marco, as she says, which is absolutely hilarious. Yes, at points this just feel like just some kind of a joke arc at times, but at the same time, it's quite serious and it's going to be freaking awesome. So look forward to that episode. Either way, it's going to be big. Now, the second episode of the week is titled All Belts Are Off, and since this is the second part of the 22 minutes that Heinous is part of, yes, I know it's complicated, it's hopefully going to continue on from Heinous. We're hopefully going to see some kind of standoff with Marco, Star, and that toffee-looking monster we saw earlier in the season, and Miss Heinous. But hopefully we'll continue the Miss Heinous arc that they're going on with. If not, then I can just assume it has something to do with Marco's karate and some big fight that goes on. Maybe with that little kid, I don't know. Now, these last two episodes have really caught my interest, though. The first episode, airing on the 22nd, is titled Collateral Damage, which is probably going to deal with some of the repercussions of an earlier episode, but it's probably going to have to deal with Ludo. The last episode for this week, airing on the Thursday, is titled Just Friends. Now, when it comes to episodes involving Starco in some way, I get excited. I've really only heard people talk about this episode in one way, though, that Starco is dead and Star and Marco are going to be just friends. Now, this does make sense, but there is a situation of Marco and Jackie, and it's not like the idea of Marco and Jackie breaking up has been completely thrown out the window. So, to me, that is certainly a possibility, but maybe I'm just too far into being a Starco shipper that is just the only possibility in my head at this point. And now we come to the last two episodes, both airing on the 27th of February and both lasting a full 22 minutes. Now, the first episode is titled Face the Music, and what is really exciting about this episode is that it's probably going to be a musical episode, you know, like Mr. Greg for Steven Universe. I recall something on Twitter actually being mentioned about a musical episode, so this should be a treat. How does this link in with the story exactly? Well, I think we're going to get some more lore explained to us, like Into the Wand. Star is probably going to have to face the music about what happened all those years ago with Eclipsa or her mother and Toffee, so expect some, like, flashback musical episode, which just sounds awesome in my head, but we'll see how it works in practice. My guess is as good as yours, though. The final episode, however, is titled Star Crushed. This is probably going to have to end off the Ludo arc and deal with some more Starco stuff, possibly setting up for Season 3 and maybe some Toffee stuff in between. I think Star's probably going to have to actually admit to Marco how she feels and is obviously going to be rejected, leaving her obviously Star crushed. I don't know, this just makes the most sense to me, but you know, how they're going to deal with Ludo, and if they're going to start actually doing stuff with Toffee and the finger in this back half of the season is just a complete mystery to me. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they deal with a lot of the loose ends that they need to tie up, and a lot of the loose ends they're going to need to unravel for the next season. So it is very exciting. And that's about all I have to really say about these episodes. I do want to mention very quickly about this book that's just been announced titled Star and Marco's Guide to Mastering Every Dimension. This looks interesting, and it might actually give us some information that we haven't seen yet, so look out for it at some point in the future. I just wanted to point that out very quickly. But if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.